come by.
What is up, YouTube? This is Nanashi with a brand new deck profile video. This time I'll be showing you the changes and updates to my Speedroid Gusto deck. To be perfectly honest from the get-go, there haven't been a tremendous number of changes, mostly just a couple of tech cards thanks to the changes on the ban list. But I have been getting some recommendations for this deck, and I'm really grateful for these people for bringing it to my attention. So now I'd like to think that with their help, this deck has seen a significant change and is now fairly good compared to how it used to be. Let's see where this goes. First off, we have the Speedroid engine. One copy of Speedroid Malicious Magnet. When it's normal or special summon, you can take an opponent's monster and synchro summon a wind synchro monster using it and this card alone, but it cannot be used for synchros outside of this effect. I've won some of my best games thanks to this card, and I really thank the one who recommended that I try this card out. It's definitely going to be a mainstay in this deck for a while now. Triple Speedroid Takaton board. If you control a wind attribute monster, you can special summon it, and then you contribute it while it's on the field to special summon any Speedroid tuner from your deck. But you can only special summon Takaton board once per turn. And during the turn you activated this effect, you can only special summon wind attribute monsters, which is fine, this deck's all wind. This card is a competent playmaker not only in Synchro but also Xyz plays. I'm grateful for this card in this engine if nothing else. But not as much as the Speedroid Terratop. If you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, and when it's normal or special summoned, you move a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which more often than not will be the Takaton, who then you'll tribute for the Malicious Magnet. Or you might decide to tribute it for the Triad dice. While it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to negate an attack. And now we move into the Gusto half of the deck. A playset of Gusto Egul. When it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon any level 4 or lower Gusto monster from your deck, as long as it's not a tuner. 2 Winda Priestess of Gusto. If it's destroyed by battle with your opponent's attacking monster and sent to the graveyard, then you can special summon any Gusto tuner monster from your deck. Gusto Guldo, the best searcher in this deck by far. When it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon a level 2 or lower Gusto monster from your deck. Triple Pilica, Descendant of Gusto. When it's normal or special summon, you can target a wind tuner monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but you have to negate its effects and play it in defense mode. And during the turn you activated this effect, you can only special summon wind attribute monsters, and you can only use her effect once in a turn. And 2 Cam Serenity of Gusto. Once per turn, you can take 2 Gusto monsters, put them back in your main deck, and draw 1 card. Next up, we have the spell cards. A pair of Contact with Gusto. You take any 2 Gusto monsters in your graveyard and target an opponent's card. You shuffle your targets into the deck and then destroy the opponent's target. Triple Creature Swap. Honestly, one of the reasons this deck is so powerful in the first place. Both players exchange control of a monster they control, but each player gets to pick their own targets. And any monsters that you swap with this cannot change their battle positions after the spell card has been played. 1 Dark Hole, obviously. Emergency Teleport. You can special summon any level 3 or lower Psychic type monster from your hand or deck, but during the end phase you have to banish that monster. There's only really 1 target I try to use this card with, but it's worthwhile. 2 MST, standard. And Triple Quill Pen of Guldos. You target any 2 wind attribute monsters in your graveyard and 1 card on the field. Shuffle the first 2 targets into your deck, and the other target gets returned to the hand. And now we have the trap cards. Bottomless Trap Hole, staple in all my decks. Triple Lost Wind. You target a special summon monster on the field, this cuts its attack in half and negates its effects. And if your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck, then you have the ability to set this card back to the field, but it banishes itself when it leaves the field. Solemn Warning, staple in pretty much everyone's deck. Switcheroo, the other reason that this deck is more powerful than it should be. If both players control the same number of monsters, all monsters on the field switch control. And a Torrential Tribute. Next we move into the side deck. one copy of Speedroid Red-Eyed Die. When it's normal or special summoned, you can use its ability to change the level of a different Speedroid monster to something between the levels of 1 and 6, which means it does go up and down to my various generic synchros, but that's not really as useful now as it used to be. I'd much rather just steal my opponent's monsters. The other two copies of Speedroid Malicious Magnet, the additional copy of Cam, a pair of Guardian Eatos. If you have no monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon it from your hand for free, and, well, that's all that really matters because I don't run her equip spell. But that alone makes her an amazing beat stick in certain situations that I can play her. Wind Witch Winterbell. Requiring a tuner and a non-tuner wind monster is easy for me to pull off, and its first effect isn't really used, which is where you target a Wind Witch monster in your graveyard and inflict damage to your opponent equal to its level times 200. But during either player's battle phase, you can target a Wind Witch monster you control, which will obviously be itself, and special summon a monster from your hand with a level less than or equal to that monster, but it cannot attack that turn. An additional copy of MST. Double Blessings for Gusto. You target 2 Gusto monsters in your graveyard, plus a third monster in the graveyard, shuffle the first 2 into the deck, and then special summon the third. Since more often than not I return the cards to the deck without special summoning them from the graveyard outside of Pilica, this card seemed kind of like a moot point, but I do want to keep it in here in case I need more acceleration. Compulsory. Triple Harpy's Featherstorm, another recommended card that somebody told me to look into, and I'm really grateful that they told me to. If you control a Wind attribute Winged Beast type monster, and until the end of this turn, any monster effects your opponent activates are negated. Now, if I control the Harpy monster, I'd be able to play it from hand, but in the event that I do somehow manage to finagle a Harpy engine into this will obviously be going right into the main. And 1 Storming Mirror Force over a regular Mirror Force. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you return all attack position monsters your opponent controls to the hand. And now we finish up with the extra deck. First up is a copy of Die Gusto Falcos. When this card is synchro summoned, all Gusto monsters on the field gain 600 attack points. The generic 4-star option would be the Old Entity Hastor. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you target an opponent's monster and equip it with this card. It becomes Fiendish Chain. That monster cannot attack, and its effects are negated. In addition, if this card is removed from the spell trap zone after it uses this effect, the monster that it was equipped to becomes yours. For the 5 stars, we have a Die Gusto Goldos. Once per turn, you can return 2 Gusto monsters in your graveyard to your main deck to target a face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. The 5-star generic option would be a hi-speedroid Chambara. It can attack twice during each battle phase, it gains 200 attack permanently when it battles, and if this card goes to the graveyard, you get to add any vanished Speedroid monster to your hand. Arguably the most important card in the Gusto archetype. The 6-star option is Die Gusto's Freeze, and I run a pair. When it's summoned, you add a Gusto card from your graveyard to your hand, it cannot be destroyed in battle, and your opponent takes any and all battle damage involving Gusto monsters. The generic option would be the Stardust Charge Warrior. When it's synchro summoned, you draw a card, and it can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each. For the 7 stars, we have a Die Gusto Eggles. Once per turn, during your end phase, you banish a wind monster out of your graveyard to target a set card your opponent controls and destroy it. The generic option would of course be a Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Once per turn, during either turn, you have the ability to negate both a level 5 or higher monster's effect activating, or the effect of a monster that targets a level 5 or higher monster, and destroy them. In addition, if this card negates and destroys a card with its own abilities, it gains the attack points of the monster that it destroyed until the end phase. The big brother to this card would actually be the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you have the ability to negate a monster effect, and if you do, destroy it. If you do that, this card gains its attack points until the end phase. In addition, if this monster battles any level 5 or higher monster, it gains that monster's attack points until the end of the damage step. The generic option, compared to that, will be the Stardust Dragon. During either player's turn, if a card or effect is activated that would destroy a card or cards on the field, you can tribute this monster to negate it, destroy it, and then at the end phase, you get this monster back. Going into the Xyz engine, we have a Muzu Rhythm the String Djinn for a rank 3. During the damage step, when a Djinn monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, if you detach a material, the attacking monster's attack is doubled until the end phase. We also have a Totem Bird. During either player's turn, when a spell trap is activated, you can detach 2 to negate it. But if this card has no materials, it loses 300 attack points. For the rank 4s, we have a Castel the Sky Blaster Musketeer. You can detach 1 material, target a face-up monster on the field, and change it to face-down defense, or you can detach 2, then target a face-up card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. And finally, Lightning Chidori. When it's summoned, you send a set card on the opponent's side of the field to the bottom of the deck, and once per turn, you can detach a material to target a face-up card your opponent controls and return it to the top. And that is the deck. Thanks to the suggestions of multiple people out there who watch my videos, this deck has seen a lot better play and can actually handle itself against some surprising opponents. It's not going to win any tournaments, I don't think, not unless I decide to tech it out with a ton of counter traps and metagrade cards, but this deck definitely has the potential to cause, if nothing else, some tremendous headaches and take a bunch of people for surprise. I thank you guys for watching this video, and if you can think of any ways I can improve this all-win deck, feel free to let me know. But in the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.
What's the next stage? What's the next stage?